What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to a live edition, just a little Clipper, just some kind of hanging out on the front porch, shooting the breeze here on Clips and Dip. Probably going to put this out as audio later. If you ever want to catch a live as it's happening, check us out at youtube.com/@Clippers podcast. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by William Updike and Adam Oslin on this sweltering evening here in Los Angeles. It is the night before the NBA Finals. How are we feeling about this NBA Finals? Will, how are you? Adam just commented on his own show. Elite bit.
I'm coping. I mean, like I don't know, man. I understand, and hindsight's 2020. Obviously, it sucks to lose Shea, but that entire team is so damn good. I think that is almost more worrisome if you're a Western Conference fan. Is like, forget even about the trade thing. We've got a verifiable juggernaut going on that's like one of the youngest teams in the league, and they seem to be head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. And yeah, that hurts. That would hurt if it was any
bigger picture. Yeah,
I mean, the cherry on the top or the insult to injuries is certainly, knowing that Shea could still be ours. But like, you look at this team and it like just how stacked they are and how good they've been on both ends of the floor. And it's just like, well, if that's the bar, I mean, 28 other teams got to be thinking, shit, like are we even close to clearing this? Are we even close?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
I like that you're taking it from the bigger picture perspective. Like, obviously the Shea thing sucks. We're going to talk about
it does, but like that has to be water under the bridge at this point.
Right.
Like it's been so long. Like, we've done these sliding door things so many times, and it's like I would like to believe that Shea could be an MVP caliber player for the Los Angeles Clippers. I just don't know that would be the case. I haven't seen a lot to prove that would be the case.
Right. Adam, how are you doing on the eve of this finals?
Yeah, I agree with Will. We could be looking at the last dynasty in the NBA just getting started. OKC has a chance to have a pretty large window here. So does San Antonio. Outside of that, with what the NBA is trying to do with this new CBA and create shorter windows and more turnover with champions, and we're about to hit 7 different champions in 7 years, it's going to be interesting. And I don't think the Shea thing's going away. I think it's only going to get worse in these NBA finals.
We will always be reminded of it.
Oh, yeah.
It would be nice if it was water under the bridge, but I think it's about to get much more painful. The water is rising. It's going to be mixed emotions. I'm going to be conflicted watching this series. Like, do I root for Shea? Because I do like Shea, and he's a very likable guy and easy to root for. I remember talking to him on draft night. And on the other hand, do I root for the Indiana Pacers because I want to guard my heart a little bit? Because if I have to see SGA raising up that Finals MVP trophy, it's really going to cut deep. So I don't know. We'll see how these finals go, but I think OKC is going to win in 5 or 6.
Yeah. The real reason to root for the Pacers, I think if you're a Clippers fan, is that is the ultimate end to the hater watch season of Paul George. If Tyrese Halliburton now brought the Pacers a championship before Paul George even sniffs a finals, I think that is pretty incredible.
So that's what was so tough about this year, and in true Clippers fashion, we got the PG hate watch. Obviously the injury's horrible. Outside of the injury, the hate watch was as good as it could have been. But at the same time, we have the shit watch, which is Shea getting the MVP. And like Adam, like you said, if they win the finals, who's probably winning the finals MVP there, right? Like it's probably Shea. So it has been a topsy-turvy season from the outside watch perspective for Clippers fans.
When was the last time, Adam, someone did one MVP and finals MVP in the same season?
Did Jokic win regular season MVP in 2023?
Were they tired of that?
I thought that he didn't. I thought that was the year because I thought he had the same thing as like the Giannis one, where like Giannis won 2, and then
Yeah.
didn't the next year. They were like,
Might have
oh,
been
like it kind of seemed like,
Embiid,
yeah.
Embiid 2023 probably. That is a really good question. How far back will we have to go?
Is it
Did
Steph?
LeBron do it in Miami?
I don't know. Is it Steph?
Steph Curry, well, he didn't win
14,
Finals
15?
MVP till 2022.
Oh, right.
Andre Iguodala
Oh,
won
he won the
2015.
chip. Yeah. All right. Well, we figured this out. I like this question from Alan. Even if we still had Shea, would our front office find a J-Dub or Chet? Well, those were pretty high picks. So I don't think the Clippers would have been high picks like that. Unless we forget, who else did we draft the year that we drafted Shea? Someone who is no longer in the league.
Yes,
and was
Jerome Robinson.
like, it's not like, that's what I think. To me, and I think every rational person, you're much more disappointed in how the Jerome Robinson thing happened than the Shea
What?
trade. Well, think about it. The Shea trade it made sense at the time. The Jerome Robinson thing was a really bad pick. Like, we got nothing from that. We got no contributions. We got no return for a lottery pick, and we missed on some really good guys. So I'm more upset about the Jerome Robinson pick from like a logic perspective, because like we don't even have any, like, you look at who was taken after him, and not like second round guys or stuff like that, but like there were like.
I think the thing that kills me is just I don't know that, like, this is the part that kills me about the trade. I don't know that Shea was necessarily a linchpin. Like, yes, the Thunder had all the negotiating power in the world. I don't know if the conversations behind closed doors were that if there's no Shea, this deal doesn't happen. Like, I'm not positive, and I could be wrong. Obviously, I wasn't there, but like, I would be very surprised if that was like a complete linchpin in these conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and people have brought up, I don't know, were you guys there that 2018 draft? They held a media draft thing at the Playa del Vista, the old Clippers training center.
We were working for a vaporizer wholesaler at that time, and we were not able to get that day off. I remember it vividly.
So I was there. I think Lucas was there. Maybe Rousseau was there. And a bunch of us were like, you have to take Michael Porter Jr. here. You got the guy to fall to you in SGA already, and we thought he'd be a higher pick than he was at 11, and they traded with Charlotte with Miles Bridges to get him. And now you have this extra pick, take the risk on Michael Porter Jr. here. And it was a real risk at the time because he had his second back injury before he ever played a game for the Denver Nuggets. That July, after he was drafted, he had his second back injury, was out his entire rookie year. A lot of people thought, if he comes back, he'll never be close to what they thought he could be.
Wasn't there cloudy stuff too with like what medicals they were releasing and who he was working out with and like what? I mean, I think he didn't do a lot to help himself in that draft as well.
The weirdest thing with me with the MPJ thing is think about how many basketball players from the state of Washington that Ballmer has had connections with. There's not a lot, but they've come to the Clippers. KPJ, Beauchamp. Like, how was MPJ the one Seattle basketball player that Ballmer wasn't like, get this guy over here? Right? Like, he's a Seattle guy. He went to Nathan Hale, shitty high school. But
the point is, would
like
he have been used in the trade instead of SGA?
Yeah, probably. Because everyone else knew that Jerome Robinson was not good enough to be a lottery pick.
The thing is, he still would have had that back surgery and not played that entire year. So OKC would have been like, I guess we're taking the risk on him now because we haven't even seen him in the NBA. I don't know. It was likely they were still getting SGA anyways. It's weird to go down this rabbit hole of the butterfly effect from everything that could have been. But yeah.
But like Shamet was already kind of a known quantity, you know, like I would just be very surprised. Again, I wasn't there. I can't say, but I would like, even though the Thunder had all the negotiating power in that deal, because, you know, like that was who Kawhi wanted. They were well aware of that fact. Clippers were were well aware that they had to do whatever, obviously, to get Kawhi in. I would still, in that scenario, be a little bit surprised if it was like, no Shea means no deal from the Thunder. When you're staring at that collection of picks for that long, I don't know. I could be wrong. Again, I could be wrong.
We should get Presti on the pod. Ask him about it.
Kawhi could have,
because even OKC didn't think that Shea was going to be an MVP. Like, come on, they didn't do that trade. They didn't do that trade with the foresight of being like, this guy's going to be an MVP. It was an exciting young player.
Because they scouted him for that same draft, Presti could have been thinking he had all-star potential, like we all thought.
Definitely, yeah.
And if you're going to do a trade like that, typically you are going to get some young player that could be part of the next foundation for that era of basketball. He was. It worked out. Now, the reporting all said, because I went back and looked at this recently and pulled some Woj ESPN Sports Center report, that Kawhi was only coming if they got that second star. So it's either the idea of, if we just could have had Kawhi and Shea together. Didn't seem like it was possible. It just was not in the cards. You either kept Shea or got Kawhi.
And this is also like a larger thing of like, I'm all for player empowerment in a lot of ways. I think we're coming to an end of star players getting to dictate as much of the front office and what happens there. Because I think if you look at the entire 2-1-3 era for the Clippers, that was pretty disastrous in terms of acquisitions that were made that made this window. If it didn't completely shut it even earlier than we thought, it certainly made it slimmer. Paul George. Come on, man.
I mean,
let the front office do their job. You do yours. Try
and do yours.
I'm not going to say that Steph was a positive, obviously. Was it the central reason, or would it have been different? Would Kawhi not have tore his ACL? I think in the end, it still would have been injuries would have taken them out. Maybe they would have gotten further. If they could have kept Hartenstein, maybe things would have been a little bit different, but I don't know. It's hard to say, but I agree. We heard what Lawrence Frank said about the trade deadline before they brought in Russell Westbrook and the type of point guard they were looking for, and it was the antithesis of Russ. And then Paul George made that statement in the locker room.
John Wall. And
Coach Lou, that they kept trying to find that point guard. They eventually got it now. Is it too late?
Well, I mean, that's the one that really hurts too, right? It's like, I think for the same package, yes, you lose Shea, but I mean, you could have tossed your hat in the James Harden ring.
Yeah.
From Houston.
Speaking of finding new players, there was a piece of, I don't know if reporting is the right word for this. Matt Moore put out a big article on his Substack. He talked about a lot of teams. He states that the Clippers are hunting for a name. Some superstars, older ones, some veteran guys with a championship experience. They really think they can make another run at it, which is very much looking at the gift horse of the season in the mouth. I don't think that's true at all. I would go as far to say that is manufactured for clicks. It directly contradicts everything the Clippers have talked about. There's two aging superstars on the table, which are Kevin Durant and Giannis. And I don't think, call me crazy, that the Clippers have enough to get either of those guys. And they've already said they weren't going to spend.
Maybe Durant, depending on the bidding.
Well, and now that the Suns owner is going to get more involved.
That's good news for you if you're looking to trade for Kevin Durant.
That I can't imagine getting an email from an owner like Ashiba and being like, "Oh, you're going to get more involved." Anyway, I just read this and I was kind of like, I don't get upset a lot about stuff like this, but it's just so not true. It's not.
Not even the NBA. Look at every professional sports franchise where the owner is intimately involved, and tell me how most of them are doing.
I don't know. I don't think they're going for a big name this offseason. It's just impossible.
Again, not unless you have that situation where it lines up with the years, with Kawhi.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, I don't know.
if it's through trade, it's possible. If the Phoenix Suns would take Norm Powell and DJ, would you do that for Kevin Durant, who has 1 year left on his contract?
I mean, if I'm the Suns, I would.
I don't know. He has 1 year left, then we got to pay it, like, and then we're attached to another. I love KD. I love Kevin Durant's game. I think he obviously brings a good vibe to the locker room. I don't know. We'd be the old team again. We'd be getting older again. Every trade we've made, we just get older.
Is the other guy that he's talking about older vet with championship experience, Drew Holiday? Like, is he just listening to all the reporting stuff that we've heard with rumors?
Probably. And that's all coming from the Boston side. Also, new Clippers fans, there's no leaks from this front office. If you're new to this Clippers franchise, they're not saying shit, right? Like, we know that. Like, we've been covering this team long enough that the smoke doesn't come from the Clippers side. Adam, you brought it up when there was the Paul George to the Warriors stuff, that all that smoke was from the Warriors side about the deals and stuff like that. All this Jrue Holiday stuff is from places like Mass Live and like these places. Like, they're not coming from the Clippers side. And La Murray talked about Jrue Holiday. Like, would the Clippers ask about it? Sure. Is he like, what are we giving up for an older guy, again, who has an injury history, maybe not the best shooter? Like, it just, none of it lines up with what the Clippers front office has been saying.
Again, is it Norm and DJ? Like, I think it depends on what the asking is.
I think Norm, there's a real good chance, we've all been looking at this for a while, there's a real good chance Norm Powell is the trade chip, as we've said every offseason, but this is the one because he's going to be off the books after this year, and there's extension talks going on, apparently. And if they can't come to an agreement, and if he wants more than 2 years and it doesn't line up with Kawhi and James Harden and those contracts being off the books by summer 2027, doesn't make a lot of sense. And good for Norm, if he can get as much money as possible, he should be able to get another $80-100 million.
Yeah.
I could see Boston being interested in that to have more scoring pop for this season, while they're likely in a gap year without Jason Tatum, and they don't want to put too
Norm
much
is
on
kind of the
Jaylen
perfect
Brown.
player for that scenario.
My issue would be Jrue Holiday's contract does go past 2027.
It goes indeed.
Technically, he has a player option for 27, 28, but it's $37 million. He's going to be 37 at the time. He's going to opt in.
Man, that's just, maybe I'm just swinging too hard because we are the older team, but like, we can't get older. We can't get that much older. We can't get a guy who's like, well, I'm 37. I'm obviously taking this option. Like, we can't be in that tier of elder statesman. He's very good.
What year would that be? Would he be 37, making 37?
It would be the 27-28 season.
Right? Like, it feels bad, man. Like, it's just not lining up.
I was like almost talking myself into this, and I'm like, man, I don't know.
It's just not lining up this offseason, which again is what the front office has been telling us for the last like year and a half. Is like, Shams, all of these people whose jobs depend on there being a lot of engagement keep saying it's going to be the craziest offseason ever. But like,
not for the Clippers.
Not for the Clips.
I don't know, because I don't think it's crazy that they could do some digging on KD or Jrue Holiday. Maybe they think, since Holiday would be expiring that final season, that they'd be able to get off that contract to a team that just wants to open up cap room. And they have been interested in him, and he's a SoCal guy, but he's coming off a year where he just only shot 35% from the outside. So you look at him versus somebody like Chris Dunn, who makes a tenth of what he does, and is the gap that big to where you need to bring in somebody that has this much more money on the books that could really limit you during the next 2 off seasons after this year? I don't know.
I do love this comment from Himothy because this is what I've sounded like, which is we can't get older and we can't get unproven young guys. We can't. We are in purgatory. I acknowledge that
I
we
need
are.
blue chip young guys.
Yeah,
I'm
I
good with
acknowledge-
unproven young guys.
Yeah, we need a once we trade for Miles Turner, we run him at the 4. We got KD at the 3, Kawhi at the 2. I think we'll be good. No, but this is my irrationality on this roster right now is because the Clippers this is what happens when you do a big trade like they did. Like, we can't bottom out. We can't exactly spend a bunch right now. Things are going to be crazy once the books open up, or maybe the trade deadline before, for sure. But right now, we're looking at the same season as we had last year for the most part, I think.
Unless James Harden all of a sudden wanted 3 years, and they're like, whoa, we were cool with another 1+1, but 3 years where you're also putting money on the books for us in the summer of 2027 and through that next season, then maybe that could be a domino effect, a ripple effect, and all of a sudden, no, James Harden's out, then Kawhi sees that this team is not going to be that competitive, then he's available. That would change things pretty dramatically, quickly. And I don't think it's totally out of question. We all just assume James Harden will be back and be good with 2 years for $65 to $80 million. But what if he says, I've left a lot of money on the table. I'm good for one last contract that's 4 years long.
Ugh, that would hurt.
I mean, that's
That
part
would
of the
change
point.
everything.
Like, I mean, and that was part of a calculated risk in acquiring him too. We all knew how much money he'd left on the table up until that point. We knew why he was leaving Philly.
They gave up a first for him though, so they're not going to just let him go. I'm saying maybe if he asked for 3 years instead of the 2, we're all assuming that would change the Clippers' outlook on him. Yeah. But outside of that, I think he's got him.
I mean, he regular season, he is, he's needed. Because if he's not the point guard for this team, I'll tell you what, I don't think we're winning 50 games next year.
Done at the 1?
God.
Honky love done at the 1.
Chunk saying if you can get KD for Norman DJ, you do it. Yeah, because the Suns are also in the spot where they don't want to bottom out. They have Devin Booker. There's these rumblings they're going to try and get Cat from their Kentucky days and all this stuff. They're going to make irrational moves. That's the other part, because the Suns, it's funny because people lambast the Suns for giving Bradley Beal a no trade clause, but you just get one of those at some point.
No, he just had it. It was a carryover from the Wizards thing.
It's
and even then, when he signed the deal, people were like, "This is going to be the last no trade clause that we see in the history of the NBA."
How much better? We talked about last week, what could put them over the top? What could make them
Suns
a more dangerous team? The Clippers and that player that could be out there. How much better would KD make them, assuming they're all healthy?
I mean, given his availability and scoring,
probably still
I'd feel good. I'd feel better about us getting 50 wins again. I'll tell you that much.
I'd feel regular season, I'm not worried. I'd feel better in the playoffs because we'd have another guy who could score and a guy who's okay with deferring.
Yeah. It's how much of a hit would the defense take, I guess? Losing Dunn.
So what's the starting?
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, is
DJ.
At the playoff rotation, I mean, look how Dunn was relegated out there for portions of time.
That's what's hard too, though. Is
his defense couldn't keep him on the floor. So at that point, I don't need a theoretical good defender who can't be on the floor. That's just not that valuable to me.
But are we doing Dunn or DJ?
Dunn and DJ.
Dunn, DJ, and Norm for KD?
Yeah. Does that feel? Yeah. So then the start. So
that's kind of a lot, I guess.
4 of the starting 5 is Harden. Yeah, our bench is
How about Dunn and Norm? We'll give you Dunn and Norm. Mr.
Yeah,
KD.
sure. Now we're in it works per the rules territory. Like now we're in like, well, if it works, you got to do it. But I just don't like, because you also, these two teams we're watching in the finals. Obviously, these two teams I think are both kind of like anomalies. Obviously, the way the Thunder were built is unique. The Pacers just did a good damn job. They're both very deep in the playoffs, like rotation roster wise. You know what I mean? Like, so
I don't think that matters as much in the playoffs.
I think it does if the Clippers are old.
That's fair.
If we, right?
Like I think optionality matters. I don't know, like if depth, because Clippers have had a lot of depth time and time again in the playoffs, and I think what we've seen is that it doesn't matter. Like what matters is like your 8 best guys being the best guys. Like I think that's more important than like a deep roster.
These playoffs, though, may be bucking that trend. These two teams. A lot of people are taking note of how much depth and how much pace Indiana can play with because they have so many guys.
It's like Bill Simmons said, now every
interchangeable.
team is trying to get as many good guys as they can, just like the Celtics.
I don't know about that, but
yeah, have we considered just having 15 really good players?
Something to think about.
Well, both have a lot of versatility and switchability, like we talked about for years. Have a lot of wing stop stuff going on. We would be looking at Kevin Durant being 37 throughout this season, Harden being 36, Kawhi being 34. Is that tenable? Is that realistic? Some people in here are like, just hand us the trophy if we get KD. It's like, well, Brooklyn and Phoenix thought the same thing.
You're muted, Chuck.
It's also funny too because they're like, they pushed the Thunder, they pushed them and they lost. I don't give a shit if you pushed them, they lost. Like all of these teams that pushed these teams lost. This would be, if the Clippers did it, I would be very excited, but it would be like the movie Wild Hogs. It's like a one last ride with the old guys. You know, like,
but I mean, that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun.
Oh, it's fun.
If the contracts line up, I'm kind of like, who cares, man? Let's do it.
Yeah, it's
what else are we doing?
What else
are we doing?
Drew Holiday.
Like I talked about at the top of this. I talked about at the top of this podcast. We're gonna in like a week's time, 2 weeks time, tops, know like what the bar is right now for this league. I'm sorry, the Clippers are like nowhere near that clearing that bar.
Currently, yeah, I think I would.
So like, let's just have some fun with it.
I
love watching KD his whole career. Love to watch him in a Clips uniform. Probably buy the jersey. Who knows? Could be fun.
I'd probably get the KD jersey. He puts on for skinny guys. I have to respect it.
I do like the idea of really leaning into a direction. If you're not going to bring in a young guy with potential, like I'm an advocate of, and pair them with this group over the next couple of years, and you're just going to say, we have 2 years here where Kawhi and James Harden are still on the team. How can we make our team most competitive? How can we give ourselves the best chance to win a championship these next 2 years while also staying under the apron for at least one of them so they can reset the repeater tax? What's the plan for that? If that's trading for Kevin Durant with the pieces we talked about, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I think
A lot would have to line up. A lot would have to go right, but that's going to be the case anyways.
I'm in on the Wild Hog season. Let's do it. This is what
we couldn't call it the Last Dance. The Wild Hogs season.
It's definitely wild. So look, I want to bring up who is in Wild Hogs because I think it actually is
Bill Macy.
It actually is
John Travolta.
It's William H. Macy, Martin Lawrence, Tim Allen, and John Travolta. That is exactly the kind of vibes the team would have with KD on the team next season. And I'm here for it.
We got to find a way to work the home improvement into every game.
Dude, they got to hold on. They got to
People also want Chris Paul in there.
Oh yeah, huge contributor, Chris Paul. I want they got to remake. We need someone to Photoshop we have the technology to share screens, something that we were the first podcast to do. We need someone to Photoshop this for us. This is a Turkish movie poster, evidently. But this is what the Clippers season would be.
Is eBay your Google, Charles?
Yeah. Any information I need, I get it from eBay.
I
This is
remember
what the season
saying
would be.
for an older Lakers team, I called them Red. Was the movie with Bruce Willis
Yes,
and Morgan Freeman,
same thing.
Malkovich?
Yeah, that would be the vibe. We would just be like, what's the movie where they all go to Vegas? We're like
The Hangover?
oh, the old guys go to Vegas. I think it might be called, it's not called Old
Casino?
Man Vegas. It's like it's oh my god. All right. Anyway,
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Not Bucket List. Maybe we just really go on the nose and call it Old. The
it's
Night
called
Shyamalan movie.
It's called Last Vegas, and it's Michael Douglas, De Niro, Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Kline. Yeah, the Clippers would be in their Las Vegas era.
What about the Stallone De
Zoo.
Niro boxing movie? What was that called?
Yeah, plus Zoo. Like that would be the vibe. Zoo's there like, what? Okay. All right, I guess
like
I'm
a decade younger than any other starter.
Yeah,
And he's not even that young.
that would have to be the biggest disparity between like everyone else. I don't know. That'd be very funny. I'm in on the KD thing. Who gives a shit? Whatever.
No, I love it. If that's the asking price,
Yeah.
if you don't have to give up future assets,
We definitely have to give up some kind of pick.
you can have a second. I don't
You
think
just
people are
got-
giving up picks.
Yeah.
I guess
we can
just
give
take-
up a bunch of picks.
Like for
Take your
an
sw-
expiring, in this specific scenario, like maybe they can get a first out of somebody, but I don't think it's gonna be. Yeah, I don't know. Do you see him getting more than one first at him?
KD?
Yeah.
No. Even though how many first did they give up for him?
Oof.
No, he's going to be 37 and he's on an expiring. So
Yeah.
no, the only thing is they may have multiple suitors that could drive up the price. Somebody in here is bringing up San Antonio. I think Houston could be interested in KD.
4 first-round picks and a 2028 pick swap.
And they gave
I still
up
don't
McHale
think
and
either of
Cam
those teams has
Johnson.
given up. I still don't think either of those teams has given up more than one first round.
Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 future firsts and a pick swap.
At that time, I remember that night.
And
To me-
they also got TJ Warren too. Let's not forget about that.
I remember thinking that bubble legend. I remember thinking that was the night the door closed on the Clippers winning the championship when that trade went down in like December, I think it
Yeah.
was, because around Christmas time.
It was a huge
Um,
trade. At the time, I was like, oh, shit.
No, everybody thought Phoenix was the team to beat. And then they ended up beating the Clippers in the first round. That they won one total playoff round with this group.
And they had a parade for the Western Conference Finals. I like this Marco thing. Late lottery pick, like a protected something I could see. But yeah, not an outright, just like, here's a first. What about the 30th pick? What about that? That's a borderline late lottery pick. Right there.
Phoenix, though, they are desperate to be competitive, not just give up KD to a team, not just their conference, but also in their division to make somebody else better without feeling like they got better themselves.
That's a good call. And the division is, if you're a real hoops head, the most important thing you can win as a team.
I don't know how their owner feels about it, if he's the same way as you, Chuck, but that could be that could be a problem. Even if he doesn't know about the Pac Div like we do, they may not want to trade him to the Clippers.
I like this. Chunk bringing up a good point. KD asked out. That lowers his value a little bit, I think, too. Like, it's not like, not a bunch. Like, it's not that drastic. You know what I'm saying?
The problem is you still just need two teams.
Right.
to pit against one another to drive up the price. And I think he's going to have 2 teams at least going for him.
Yeah, let the other team be stupid. Who cares? Play chicken. Let's say.
Play chicken. Bail. JDog7, this is going to be a quick conversation. Have you guys done any research on prospects we can get for our 30th pick this draft?
Adam,
No,
I defer to you.
absolutely not, JDog. I'm really sorry, man. I just look at who they get workouts for. They worked out that guy. They worked out Broom from Auburn, who I despise and think will not be a good player. This guy who plays the 5 who like can't really jump or shoot and complains to the refs every single. Anyway,
Good defender though.
Yeah, great. No, I don't know who they could take at the 30th. Adam, do you have any idea? They've done some workouts.
I defer to Jay Billis.
Where did Will go?
Will
I know
wouldn't
what Will's
part of this
doing.
conversation. I watch a lot of college basketball. It's a rough watch until the tournament, and even then, I still have an eye on other things because NBA basketball is still going on. So,
yes. So I have seen this guy Yang has been talked about a lot.
I am down the Yang gang.
Shout out the Yang gang, bro. I think I've heard his defense is suspect. I don't know. We'll talk more. The draft is in what, like 3 weeks? Wow, that means our 4th season starts in 3 weeks. I'll tell you what, we'll learn all about him once we draft him.
That'll be the time.
That'll be the time. And then we can start talking about how my favorite part about the draft, maybe not favorite, is that people will be like
a part of the draft.
We'll be like, hey, like this guy at number 30, I think if we draft him, he can slot right in for DJ's spot. Or they're like, we can just get this guy and then boom, backup 5.
Yeah,
and you're
good
like,
luck.
yeah, dude, we're for sure. Like, I love if we were able to develop guys, that'd be awesome. The Clippers are not very good at developing young players.
It's also 30. Like you're
It's
picking
the
at 30.
30th pick. Like, it's a crapshoot. Like
29 other like.
Thank you, J Dog.
Like other picks, like they missed this jam.
It's the Jokic effect. It's like, he got drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, dude. What if we took this guy?
Outliers.
Yes.
Exceptions to the rule. That's why I don't get too down on the Clippers and their drafting as of late. How many high draft picks have they had? Like, if they had a ton of high draft picks and all of those ended up being crap, and we weren't just talking about Jerome Robinson, like, then I'd say there would be more evidence.
Who was it? There was a GM or a coach or someone recently who said that we're in this age of chasing outliers. Like, we're in this age of like, where's your Jokic? Like, just take the huge risk. And that's like crept higher and higher up on draft boards. And it's like kind of infected how fans pick guys that they want. Cause like, remember that guy who loved Hartenstein? That EG 4000, like being like, he's the next Jokic. Like, there's this thing where it's like, we just have to take a shot and maybe he's the greatest player we've ever had. It's like, well, more than likely he will be bad and not in the league anymore.
Yeah, because Jokic, his tape or his film was so mediocre and he looks like this slow guy, but it happens to work for him. He is the one of one, where a guy that doesn't have many obvious physical skills out there just has a basketball mind and an IQ that makes up for it like no one we've ever seen.
What hurts more than the Shea trade? Why don't we just draft Jokic?
I'll never forget where I was. I texted.
I was at Taco Bell.
I texted. Yeah, I was at Taco Bell.
It fell out of my mouth when I saw Denver draft him. I was like, no, that was the Clippers pick.
EG is a legend. Also, he was, man, what a mind that was. If you look up, if you're a newer fan, look up EG 4000 on Reddit, or I think he probably got suspended off Twitter. One of the few people to only get suspended off of Twitter. Man, he was a lunatic. Development that came up too. The Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. Whatever. How worried are we about JVG going to the Knicks?
I'm like 10%.
Well, that's fair.
It seems to me like they're going to be looking for somebody who's more of a younger, creative, innovator guy on the offensive end.
Yeah.
Jeff Van Gundy worked with Tibbs. Like, why would you bring in a similar guy? But then
they're looking at Malone though too, right?
Yeah.
Or at least that's what people seem to think.
He's from Queens. I think they're under contractual agreement to interview coaches who are from New York.
There's this Johnny Bryant guy though.
Yeah.
That was with Cleveland this year, but before that was with New York and with Tibbs. So it's like I think they want some of what Tibbs brings, but then also somebody who's a little bit more progressive.
Could they finally lure Jay Wright away?
They want woke Tibbs. I don't think Jay Wright, man, he'd have to get paid a lot of money to leave where he's at because he is a god there.
Yeah, but I mean, he's getting up there in age. I mean, how many shots do you get?
That's true.
At the league, he knows some of the guys famously
he
on the roster.
I have a mutual who's a big Knicks fan who wants Bryant.
Wright's not coaching right now, right?
I don't think so. I
thought he retired from Villanova.
Yeah, I think he's just doing TV.
Yeah, Seth Davis said something. Who's obviously worked with him on the TV side, like. You have a better chance of me coaching the Knicks. He has no interest.
I could see that, dude. It's
some people also think he's like a Jim Cramer type, where that's the reverse jinx, and anything Seth Davis says, take the opposite.
He was just so successful, and like his legacy is cemented as one of the.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, it's unimpeachable. He's like 63 years old. You don't think if the league came knocking at your door, some guaranteed money, you'd be like, sure. How bad could it be?
Pretty bad.
The pressure cooker is going to be immense because they just fired a guy who helped them get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time.
That's not the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the zeros on the check, sir. I'm looking at the zeros on the check.
I think the pressure's crazier too.
I'll take your money.
He knows everybody, so the pressure's even higher because it's like that you've coached these guys.
No, lower.
Hey,
these are my dogs. Spent 3 years in the trenches with some of these guys.
All the Knicks fans are fish heads now. Scott asking, are we getting dip recipes today? I personally don't have one.
I didn't know that we were dipping today. So
it's alive. I don't have a dip. I have an ingredient for a really refreshing summer drink that I can share with you.
Drop some recipes in the chat, though. We'll examine. We'll examine.
No, the recipe is 3 ice cubes, about 1.5 ounces of whiskey, and then limoncello LaCroix for the real ones. This is something that's okay. There's 2 very funny comments. Miles Johnson saying, "How much would the Knicks give us for Ty Lue?" He's also commenting, "We could get a couple firsts back." I love Ty Lue. If they offered us 3 first-round picks, I'm saying, yeah, great, thanks, Ty. But they're not giving us 3 first-round picks for Ty Lue.
Well, here's the thing, guys. They don't have first-round picks. They gave them all up for Mikal Bridges. Maybe they could give up 1. But first of all, F that, because all you who say Ty Lue sucks, and now you're like, how many first-round picks could we get for him? It's like, oh, he must be valued by other people, huh?
No, Adam, everyone else in the league is stupid.
Yeah. Everybody thinks their coach sucks, and they think they're smarter than them. every fan base in the league.
Ty's quote about, like, what was it, if you don't want to
get on that? If you got me on that whiteboard, tell you what, we would have got out on that Denver series. Tell you that much.
You're just drawing a movie theater. You're like, we go see a movie after this. His quote about, like, if you want to stay employed, don't win Coach of the Year and don't win a championship. Very on point.
Yeah.
Legend saying, all we need to get this Clips team complete is Pascal Siakam.
That should be an easy get
right now, right? What's he doing?
That should be an easy get.
Jesus. Legend is right.
Once we trade for Pascal
Why did we think of that?
Once we trade for Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner, and we draft, someone was saying the center from Michigan is a lot like Jokic. Look out, league.
I don't know if Pascal will work next to Kawhi, though, so.
Yeah, so we shouldn't. Yeah, you know what? So for that reason and that reason only, we should not do it. Goofya117 says their personal favorite for the 30th is Ben Seraph, since he has high upside as our future ball handler. Maxine Renaud if he sticks around 30, which is iffy. These could be made up people, and I would say, great. If you believe in it, I believe in it.
They sound good.
Sketch.
Yeah. Maxine Renaud, I mean, just based on the name alone, yeah, let's go for it.
Everybody loves Renaud.
Any French players? Any French players would be pretty sick. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird. The 30th pick is gonna be weird, and probably not play very much.
They may trade it. They may use that with Norm Powell in a trade.
Yeah,
who knows?
I think so. Norm, we're all kind of talking about Norm. Obviously, number one, kind of tradable asset that the Clippers will actually trade.
We love you, Norm. We're just reading tea leaves. You should get paid big bucks.
Yes. Number 2 trade piece, DJJ?
I think so.
Yeah, it's the only young.
Bogey's a guy that a team that needs shooting or something would want. But DJJ, I think, he's on a cheap deal.
That's what they're going to be asking about. It's not about us wanting him to go.
No, of course not. Of course not. I just think though, like if we're talking about trades, like you got to talk about pieces of value. And DJJ is one of those pieces of value. Like that's an alluring asset for the right.
He's our best young guy, other than Zoo.
I mean, but that's off the table.
Yeah.
Well,
Adam, give us your Zoo trade. Let's go.
Oh wait, hold on. We got a drink recipe from Ryan Armenta, who I think is new. What's up, Ryan? Vodka, lemon juice, elderflower cordial, soda water, garnished with a lemon. It's like a slight upgrade to a mule.
Screenshotting that. I'm screenshotting this. I'll try it out. I might go white rum or something though instead of vodka. I'm not a big vodka guy.
I'd have to buy all of these ingredients. We're a whiskey household over here. The Zoo, trading Zoo would be
Adam, give us your theoretical Zoo trade. What would it take what would it take for you to trade Zoo away? What would have to be on the table?
A really good center. Miles Turner, how about that?
it would have to be like what the Knicks gave up for Mikal Bridges. 5 first-round picks. It starts there. It'd be a Rudy Gobert.
That's where the conversation starts.
Now, the only reason I still probably will only entertain it if the Clippers were already just in complete teardown mode, like we talked about earlier. If James Harden is about to leave and then Kawhi needs to be moved, and then you're like, okay, are we going to keep Zoo for his prime years while on a 30-win team, or should we trade him? As Chuck Mockler just pieced out.
I'm going to go make a drink.
He won't hear any type of Zoo. He won't entertain.
Zoo trades will make you drink.
Yeah.
Thinking about trading Zoo will make you drink.
I mean, Adam, when it comes to untouchables, like true untouchables on this roster, outside of Zoo,
there's none.
Yeah, I'm like they would pick up the phone for. I mean, they'd entertain an offer for almost anyone else on the roster. You think?
Do your due diligence, but I think they would listen if Houston came calling for Kawhi and offered Jabari Smith and something. I think you have to listen. Yeah. But outside of Ivica Zubac, I feel like this is that point in time where if you're going to have an inflection point where you did go a different direction and weren't just trying to run it back and do the same thing and win 50 games and compete and play at a high level, this might be the last chance this offseason to take a different direction as opposed to what we are
within this
next 2 years.
Within this makeup of the team.
Yeah. In this transitional phase with an older team that is trying to hold on and find a way to compete, they're either going to do something different than we all thought this offseason, or they're going to commit to it's 2 years and this is what it's going to look like for the next 2 years for sure.
Ryan Armenta brings up a great point. When do we realistically start talking about a teardown? and I mean, like Adam and I were talking about, like I think there's probably only one
2035.
Well, but I mean, there's one non-negotiable on this roster, right? Like, I think that they'll entertain offers, like in the scope of a teardown. They have no incentive to lose, so it would only be a teardown in the sense of you would have to be getting, young, unproven players plus assets, and I just don't know. I don't know who's really giving that to us at this particular juncture.
When someone offers them a shit ton of first round picks and young potential stars, that's when we can start talking about a teardown.
Yeah. If Harden and Kawhi, if we could get multiple first round, like it's like then it could start tomorrow, right? But with everything we've seen, it's going to be a minute until a teardown.
If you could get like a first and Amen Thompson, well, probably two, because neither of those firsts are going to be that good at that point. I think, start the teardown, baby.
Yeah.
Give me the sledgehammer.
Realistically, though, it's not going to happen. There's a 90% chance we're seeing something similar next season, which isn't the worst thing in the world. There are teams that would die to have a chance to win 50 games and look like you're really a competitor heading into the playoffs, like the Clippers were, having won 18 of the last 21 games.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the hard part, right? Is I do feel like there is no spot kind of like for the middle, like in the zeitgeist, even like the really good sort of middle. Like there's not like a lot of, there's not a lot to hang your hat on, like, winning 50 games, getting bounced in the first. There is for me, like as a fan, there is for me as like not having had a losing season in this long. But I mean, in the larger sphere, in the way that people watch this game and like consume, it's like you either got to be at the top or like you got to be losing games and gunning for like a high round, exciting pick. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's kind of seen as, man.
It's that min-maxing, dude. The society as a whole is all about min-maxing that. If you're not 100% in it, you might as well just try and bottom out. Andy, 819, whatever. Why does it seem like the Clippers' big offseason went from 2026 to 2027? Obviously, we don't know their plans, but everything was leaning towards 26, and now it seems like 2027 is the move. I think this might just be a semantics thing because it's the 2026 season, but it goes into 2020. You know what I mean? Like I literally think it's just a semantics thing. It's just after the 2026 season.
Or somebody not paying attention to Kawhi's extension when he got it. Like,
hey, I'm giving Andy 81293 the benefit of the doubt here.
No, I understand where he's coming from, but I mean, it's always been. I've always said they could have $70 million in 2026, or maybe $120 million in 2027. That's how I've always put it. It's not that 2026 could still be a big offseason. It's dependent on James Harden. Does he do a 1+1? Is he only here for one more year? Is he here for 2 more years? Does Kawhi get moved at some point? Like, God laughs at our plans.
You say God laughs at our plans? Jesus. This might crash my computer, but I'm going to try and screen share the Basketball Reference site just so people can see what the contracts look like. Let me zoom out, actually. So, like, that's what it looks like 26, 27.
Look at Zoo, the only guy in the books, summer 2027.
And Cam Christie.
Potentially. People want to act like the Clippers don't have a plan. It's like, look at this. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand. What are we doing? Like, look at the salary. They have a plan.
They have a plan. Well, I was just informed that God laughs at plans.
That is true.
That's our plans in particular, not the Clippers front office plans.
Yeah, I don't know. They clearly they'll figure that shit out. Most likely, or not.
It's not like you can know exactly who you're going to get, but if you have all this money to spend, that is a direction. You are looking at a big reload offseason coming.
Yeah.
Miles Johnson said if we run it back, percentage chances we're a top 6 seed next year.
What do you put it at, Adam?
51%. A little more likely than not.
I'd go 51%. I guess it's like what jump did this? What jump did the Spurs make? Are the Jazz actually serious? Well, they were so shitty, it doesn't matter. This is a funny question. Why hold on to Zubac since he's improved and he's our biggest trade asset? Because we need him. He's young.
I mean,
we need to hold on. Like,
unless you can get like the Rudy Gobert sort of like Godfather offer, it's just, especially with the current CBA, it's really tough to let a player go who's like at the max of his contract going to be making a hair under $20 million.
Quentin's also a known Zubats hater. He used to say all he does is dunk. But
Quentin doesn't want.
Can I introduce you to this, buddy? How about a little of this?
Shots in the league in 25 years. I would say he's not much of a deteriorating asset right now. Like, even if you do, like, he could be worth just as much next offseason in a trade. Ivica Zubac at 29 versus 28 now.
Yeah, I just don't. We can't like.
Why would they trade him? Are they trying to compete or not? If you're trying to compete, you hold on to Ivica Zubac. If you trade Ivica Zubac, then you should probably be trading Kawhi. You should be trading James Harden.
You bring up a good point too, because like we have to stay competitive. There's no incentive for us to not be good. So like giving away one of your I don't know. You don't control your own picks, so like it still doesn't behoove you. Like even in the scenario where you're getting a ton of picks, it still doesn't behoove you to lose.
Quentin told me to let go of the past. You mean like 3 months ago?
Norm Bogey done Kobe for KD works money wise.
Per the rules, it's done. Done deal.
Awesome.
You guys think Phoenix does it?
No.
I mean, it works per the rules. They have to. That's how the rules work.
The rules work. The per the rules conversation came from, there was a guy on Twitter who would send us the five teamers, and he'd be like, per the rules, this works. You're like, hell yeah, let's lock it down. Someone was asking, can the team hire a shooting coach for KD? Do people watch the NBA?
Not old dirty dad.
Starting to become frustrated.
Shooting coach for KD.
Man can't shoot. That's always been his greatest weakness.
A big brute like KD? He's banging around inside.
All he does is dunk, dude.
He looks like LeBron on Miami. All right. We might have to wrap this up because it's been an hour. Does anyone have any other final takes they would like to say about anything? Recipes? The Clippers?
Panthers.
Give us something. Give us something positive.
Hockey game is lit, guys. It's 3-2 in the early in the second. Holy shit!
Let's go Oilers. I hate the fucking Panthers. Adam, can we get one positive things for Clippers fans?
Ooh. After a conversation like this, well, somebody's talking about, can we really compete? Why are we even trying to be competitive? It's like, and we had Justin Russo on last week, and if his outlook is correct, and it's what most people are looking at right now, or how they're looking at the league, there's one really good team in the West and a lot of teams who are around the same level currently. That could change, as it typically does. But to act like you're so far away from competing after the season the Clippers just had, winning 50 games while only getting 37 from Kawhi Leonard, what happens if he plays 55 plus next year? Could they win 55 games? Like, it's not. It's just not out of the realm of possibility that the Clippers could be even higher than the 5 seed next year. And if you have a chance to be a top 4 seed in the West, you probably should run it back and see what you can do.
Honestly, like, just getting the opportunity at like one round of a home court series would be an incredible accomplishment for like where we're at this cross juncture with where the Clippers are at right now. That'd be incredible, and that's not impossible.
How many teams, if they had a chance, realistically, and I think this is a real possibility, to be a top 4 seed in their conference, are just going to go, nah, we're still not good enough. Like, how many are going to just say, nah, blow it up? That's just unrealistic.
It is. And again, there's no incentive to tank unless we can do the full teardown, which I don't think happens this offseason. Call me crazy. All right. That about wraps things up. Quentin Spiraling, we're going to go let them do their thing. We will be back next week with dips. We will have dips. We got a lot of letters about it this week. We'll probably be talking more about draft stuff because it will be 1 week closer. There'll be more workouts. Until then, thank you for hanging out. If you'd like to subscribe, check us out, youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Yeah, we have the podcast everywhere. Like us, subscribe, it'd be awesome. We will see y'all next week. And as always,